All right. So I'm going to start with some history. Okay. Internet history is not as bad as other history. It's nice, so we'll go through it, and then we will talk about introduction to the internet, the protocols, and so on and so forth. Right. Again, if you have questions while we are discussing the internet or anything today, please ask your question. Feel free to ask it immediately. I'm good with that. If there's something you want to expand on, again, let me know. Okay. Right. So the first thing we need to differentiate between is the difference between the internet and the web. Does anyone know the difference between the internet and the web? When I say I'm browsing the web, what is the difference between the internet and the web? Okay. Come on, guys, you are good users of the internet. Anyone cares to answer this? The web, World Wide Web versus the internet.
I thought they were the same thing. I
Okay,
didn't know they're different.
they are different. Okay, right. So I'll tell you the difference now because they will help us understand this history, and then we will expand on this as we go on. The internet, from the word internet, is a short of interconnected networks. Interconnected networks means networks that are connected together. Okay, so the internet is the collection of computers, the collections of servers that are connected together, and you can access when you access the internet. Okay, so for example, right now you guys are accessing Zoom, right? You are using Zoom to see me, right? These Zoom sessions are hosted or are can be accessed on computers or servers that are placed in the company called Zoom, right? At the same time, you guys can access Canvas. Canvas is located in California State University, Monterey Bay. You can use you can also access CNN, you can access watch TV on Netflix, you can do many things, right? All of these are hosted in computer networks at some company. So Netflix has its own network with its own computers where they host their movies. Zoom has its own computers where they broadcast their Zoom sessions. Canvas has its own computers where they host the information about the courses and about the students. And all of these are connected together, right? So the internet is a collection of connected networks. Networks connect together into one big network, and this network is the internet, okay? The World Wide Web, www, as we say it, www.cnn.com, www.csumb.edu. This World Wide Web is a service on the top of the internet. The web is a service on the top of the internet. This service allows us to develop pages that can be seen by the browsers. Okay, so the internet is the basic. This is the basic thing, the infrastructure, and then on top of the internet is the World Wide Web, which is a service that provides us with the ability to view web pages, browse, and so on and so forth. Okay, so they are completely different things, right? So our discussion starts with the invention of hypertext. Okay, hypertext is the language that we use to develop web pages. Hypertext is a way we use to develop web pages. Okay, so this is why I ask you to differentiate between the internet and the web. Okay, so hypertext is used in pages. So this nice person, right? He was working in the U.S. Navy, and he came up. He's the first one who came up with the idea of creating pages on computers and being able to go and view these pages. Okay, he came up with a language or a system called Gopher. Okay, right. So Gopher was something similar to the current web, so the current web pages, right? But they are old ones. So you can go into the computer, like see a screen like the screen you see in front of you, and start moving from one page to the other. Okay. But back then, Gopher was very simple and very text-based. So there was no images in Gopher. There was no videos. There was no such thing, right? All you can do is you can see some text and move from one page to the other. Okay, this was called Gopher, and Gopher is the first form of hypertext languages, hypertext techniques. Okay. If you have questions, stop me and ask me. Okay. So what is a hypertext again? A hypertext is a system that allows you to see, to view pages on your located somewhere else and move or navigate from one page to the other. Okay, this is what hypertext means. Okay. And then after Gopher, then this guy, Tim Berners-Lee, came up with the idea of the web. Okay. Right. So the web is based on two things. The first part is the browser that you have in your computer and you use to access the web, right? Without Chrome or without Internet Explorer or Edge, you cannot access any pages. So you have to have this browser in your computer. And on the other end, we have to have pages, web pages developed in certain languages. We will talk about in the next week, in the following weeks. And these pages are accessible only through the browser. Okay, so these pages like HTML pages and so on. So when I go, for example, if I go here and write csumb.com, okay, this is my browser, this is my Chrome browser, and I inserted a web address here.
edu.
Sorry, edu, yes, thank you. I have been working for 5 years and I forgot. Okay. .edu, right? Right. This page, this is a web page, right? This is a web page developed in a language called HTML that you guys will get to use in the following weeks, right? So my browser connects to a server, and I talk about what server means again in soon, and gets this page, downloads this page, and displays this page for me. Okay, so this is the World Wide Web, a system that contains of a local browser that you can use to access the www or web, and on the server side, on the website that you are accessing, which contains pages that you can access using your browser. Okay, so this is the www, right? So before I continue, what comes first? What was invented first, the internet or the World Wide Web? What do you think was invented first? By logic, not by knowledge.
I would say internet, right? Because the World Wide Web, well, that involves a lot of, it's based on top of the internet. Yeah.
So that's correct, right? So the internet came first because the World Wide Web is a service built on the internet. Okay. So the internet has to be there for the World Wide Web to work. If there is no internet, the www doesn't work. Okay, so that's correct. That's right. Thank you. That's great, guys. This is the right answer, everyone. The internet came first, of course, right? So the internet is the infrastructure, and upon the internet came the World Wide Web. So that's good answer. That's nice. So we are going in the right direction now. Okay, right. So this guy came up with the web. Okay. So this is one of the first pages that were displayed on in the US, and this was Honolulu Community College, right? So this was one of the first to show up. As you can see, it has a simple image and lots of text and hyper and links, right? And you can see it's completely different from what we see today, right? Okay. All right. Now, some philosophical discussions of the web, some discussion that tells you the difference between technology years ago and technology today, right? Yeah, it's Web 1.0 and maybe 0.5 even, right? So the first thing is, nowadays, if anyone invents anything, right? For example, think of any invention that happens now. What is the first thing that you do when you invent something today?
Copyright?
Copyright, right? You go get a patent and copyright, and no one can use it except you, and so on. Now this guy came up with the World Wide Web, which changed everything in the world. Now imagine for a minute that this guy said no one is going to use the www except by paying me money and then getting permission from me. It's my copyright, and I'm not going to share it with anyone. Imagine how the world would have changed today, right? So back then, this guy worked for science. He wanted to make the internet, make information available for everyone. Okay, he did not focus on profit. If he focused on profit, he would be the richest man in the world right now. But he didn't do that. So he invented the World Wide Web, and he made it available to everyone for free. Everyone can use the World Wide Web and so on. And this is why the web is everywhere now. Everyone is using it, and it's not restricted to any country or any language, which was a great thing. So this was the idea then. Yes, Michael.
I was just curious, do you think it would have caught on if you would have made people pay for it right at the beginning? Because
no,
I don't either. Yeah.
No, if he said no, you have to pay me royalties to use the internet, then for sure it wouldn't be as spread as it is now. But at the same time, there might be some new technology that would have emerged to replace the World Wide Web. So you never know. But especially at the beginning, when you are starting something, if you say you have to pay me money to use it, it wouldn't disperse, it wouldn't diffuse everywhere as it does today, right? So this is why when people are starting new services or new businesses, they give up free stuff so that they can attract people and then make them pay. And you guys may not know, some of you may, but for those who don't, the internet in its early days, when we started in the 1990s and early 2000s, everything online was free. You can do anything you want for free. Even websites that required username and password to log into, they had the weakest password. Anyone in high school could have cracked their passwords and logged into these websites, right? So it was a paradise back then. It was a completely different landscape from today. Today, to log into anything, you have to have double authentications. You have to have to pay money for everything to use anything on the internet, whether it's a course, whether it's watching a movie, whatever. In the early internet, everything was really free, which was nice. Yeah. Yes. Right. So the internet was intended to be democratized. It was intended to be for everyone. Unfortunately, now everything costs money. Okay. Right. So this is some of the history of the internet, how it started and so on. Right. The main thing that I want you to know is this is the World Wide Web, which was built on top of the internet. Okay. Now let's dig a little bit deeper and talk about the internet. Right. So as I mentioned before, the internet is a short for interconnected network. So networks that every company or every organization or every government owns, and these are connected together by cables, right? So they are connected by satellites or by cables that go under the ocean that connects all these networks together, forming what we know as the internet. The internet in its simplicity is some hardware connected together. But connecting hardware together does not guarantee its ability to operate, right? Hardware is good, but it's only part of the equation. There are other things that need to be there in order to have the current internet, right? So on top of this hardware, on top of these computers connected by cables, we have applications. We have applications that are built on top of this hardware that we use, and these applications together form the internet applications, form the applications that form the internet. Okay, so applications are, there are so many applications. One of them is www, as we said, the World Wide Web. The email, right? Email is one application on top of the internet as well. It's email is very similar to www, right? We have what we are using right now, the Zoom, right? Zoom is a service on top of the internet as well. It's a video streaming or live video. Okay, we have voice communication, voice over IP. Okay, like Google Talk is one example, or now it's called Google Voice is an example, and there are many similar services that are now available. Okay, we have shopping e-commerce is another application built on the internet, and so on and so forth, right? So these applications together form the software aspects of the internet, form the internet that we are familiar with. Okay, but as I mentioned, they are applications. They are called applications of the internet, and we'll talk more about that as we dig deeper. Okay. So we talked about the internet as connecting everyone together. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So what technology do we need to use the internet? Okay. We use the traditional IT technologies, and let me dig deeper in this part. The most important component on the internet is the server. Okay. Does anyone know what a server is? A computer server or a server means in computing? Can
Well,
someone give me the...
it's like the back end, you know, of I guess just like whatever's being hosted. It's the computer that's basically host in terms of like the website. It's basically what's hosting the website and keeping it online.
Yeah, that's right. A server, a computer server, is a big computer. So it is a computer like any computer, like this laptop I'm using, or any computer you guys are using. It's a computer, but with higher capabilities than normal computers. So if this computer I'm using has a 16 gigabyte memory, 1 terabyte storage, 5 gigahertz processor, a server has 4 or 8 processors. Each one has the same speed, and it has much more memory than the computer, and it has much more storage than the computer. So a server is a computer, but it's much larger, not in size, but in capabilities than a normal computer. Okay, so a server is a computer with much bigger capacity in terms of processing power, in terms of memory, in terms of storage. Okay, the server is used to host for a variety of reasons. The main power, the main goal of having a server is to have this server accessed by many people at the same time, right? So we all right now are accessing Zoom. Okay, so this session we are having is hosted on a server. The server needs to be very strong so that all of us can access it at the same time. Same thing for Canvas, for example. Canvas server must be big enough to hold everyone who can log to Canvas at the same time. So Canvas is for all CSUMB, so it needs to accommodate 20,000 students accessing the server at the same time. Okay, so again, a server is a big computer with more capabilities so that it can tolerate many users accessing this server. Okay, right. The notation of server is very important. So does everyone understand the meaning of a server? Because we will build on that. Or has comments, objections on my definition, everything, anything. Okay. Okay. So a server is a big computer that hosts or where the websites are located or hosted. Okay, and you guys will get to use it in the following weeks. The second thing that second technology is the storage technology. So right now, it is not enough to have storage on the computer or on the server itself. It's not big enough. So what happens is we create independent storage, so storage beside the server, and we connect them together. Okay, and then we have the network itself that connects everything together. Okay.